Welcome, Houston, to Chai Time here on 103.5 Hum FM. So today we have our very own Linlin on the show, and I get to interview her. Woo! And of course, our dear friend Mitali Paul. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. It feels weird to be here on this side.
I know. I was going to just ask you that. You stole my question. You're not supposed to ask the question. Answer the question.
See, she's not used to it.
Before I even get to it, she's like, "Oh, this is not feeling right. I feel different."
I know when Mitali said, "Do you want to do a show together?" And I'm like, "How is that going to be like? Like, how am I going to feel?" I think I'm going to forget I'm not hosting it. So, Mitali, what do you think?
Focus, man. Focus.
That's why I got all my notes, just to keep me in check.
Well, I usually ask out how the weekend was, but I think we've been talking about the weekend this whole time, so we'll just get right to it.
Sure.
So today our topic is on coaching.
Yeah.
Now, both you ladies have different types of coaching methods and different types of coaching. I was going to say
coaching.
Yeah.
Types of coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start with that. Now, the first question would be, can you define coaching and how it is different from therapy? Who's answering that one?
I'll let Mitali take the mic first.
All right. So, it's interesting you asked that difference between coaching and therapy. You would think that it would be very clear, but, a lot of times there is confusion. Now, both coaching as well as therapy are provided by trained professionals. These are individuals that have been kind of trained in the science of it, and are able to and really focus on improving individual performance in different ways. But the biggest difference between coaching and therapy, I mean, coaching is definitely not therapy, cannot replace therapy. Therapists are certified professionals. They're healthcare professionals. They deal with mental health. They deal with different kinds of crises. They help with emotional well-being, mental health well-being. The theory between coaching and therapy, the commonality is that you're working towards self-improvement, right?
Yeah.
You're seeking professional help to work towards self-improvement, but versus in coaching, you're focusing on the future. You're focusing on goals, whether it's personal or professional, and that's where we'll talk a little bit between the differences. But the focus really is on the future and on working towards certain goals. But in therapy, you're actually seeking help to heal from trauma.
Yes.
There may be abuse, there may be trauma, there may be depression, anxiety, lots of other emotions that are hindering you in your ability to continue to do what you need to do. And so therapy really is a lot more dealing with the past, helping give people tools to come to terms with and deal with things that have happened, versus coaching is really more towards, you still will probably go a little bit into the past and understanding a person, but coaching is really more future focused.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. So therapy is more like, it's getting the client to function again, right? It gets you to functioning, while coaching takes that functioning to thriving. So basically that is what it is. And many times I also feel like some of the clients, they need both, right? They need the therapy and the coaching too. So it's not one or the other. Sometimes it's both simultaneously. They can work together. So, yeah.
And in coaching, you use different tools. In therapy, you use different tools. In therapy, you're using, you could do cognitive behavioral therapy. You could do, counseling. There's different kinds of tools that you use in therapy because, again, you're focusing on trauma. You're focusing on, issues, problems, phobias, Things that impact you psychologically. Versus in coaching, there may still be some fears involved. You may work on confidence building and things like that. But in coaching, you're really focusing. Some of the tools are personality assessments, skills assessments. If you do career coaching, which is kind of where my passion really lies more in, that's video interviews, preparing people to help network, and so again, different types of skill set and different types of tools, and definitely different goals for both.
I love it. I think for me, just personally speaking, I have the best of both worlds. As a bestie, I have a personal therapist, and then also now a life coach, which she's certified. So it's like, wow, so today we're going to talk about it's the best of both worlds. I love it. I think we all
you
get
just
it.
need to go and get some, become a licensed therapist.
Oh no, I'm not.
Just complete that full circle, okay? So then you can legitimately be her therapist.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's, for me, that's the best. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that, right? Yeah. Olivia's like, yep, that's true. So how would you describe your coaching philosophy in one sentence? Who's taking that one?
I think my philosophy is lasting change comes when the body, mind, and soul works in harmony. Building those sustainable habits, and your mindset also. A lot of times we always put ourselves down, right? So I think that working with that and accepting the change, which is important too, and taking all those small steps. So many times we have this huge big goal in our mind, and we are just trying to go towards that goal, but in the bargain, you're just not happy, or there's so many things that come in the way, and you just keep beating yourself up. So I always look at small steps, small changes, and work towards the bigger, at the end of the day, you will reach your goal. So just taking those small steps, and I think that's what it is for me.
Love that.
For me, it's really bringing out the best in others, harnessing their hidden potential, helping them do things that they may not have thought possible, breaking norms and being able to really be the best version of you. A coach is really more, I see my role more as a guide and as a mentor, and that's what coaches do. They're not telling you what to do. They're helping you come up with solutions that work for you. But giving you tools, giving you a perspective, helping you identify your strengths, as well as looking at opportunities of improvement or barriers to your success. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about how we can come in our own way of self-sabotage or not being able to be successful in what we do. That's kind of what I see as my role, is being able to really bring out the best in people's potential and help them be the best version of themselves.
I love that.
Professionally.
Yeah. Always asking those questions, like getting them to think, what is it that you want, right? And many times, people are stuck. They're like, oh my God, you're asking me that question? I really have to take a moment to think about that. So, so that is... Yeah.
I mean, I remember just in our one-on-ones, and we're having this conversation, right? And she's questioning me, and I'm thinking we're just having a regular conversation. And then in that moment, I have an aha moment, because I'm just like, wait a minute, this is what I need to do. But it didn't even occur to me that she's the one who made me lead to that point to make me actually understand, this is what I needed, but she got it out of me somehow. And I was like, whoa, that was a mind-blown moment for me, because I was wow.
The basic thing is you can't make someone do something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
True.
I mean, you can show them the way, you can guide them, you can, help them navigate through the barriers. But at the end of the day, it's your personal grit and desire to do whatever you need to do
Yeah.
to accomplish your goals, whether it's personal or professional, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So nobody can force you to do something. And the best way to actually nurture someone's potential is to allow them to discover themselves.
Yeah.
And take pride in it and be accountable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And be able to move in the right direction.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, accountability is key. I mean, it's like a lot of, and sometimes like you have the answers, you know the answers,
Yeah.
but then you are not consistent with it, or you're not committed to it.
Yeah.
So it's always that, you fall back again and then you come back again, and it's just, but it's just that little push. And sometimes I guess the clients don't realize that they are being pushed a little and they are going forward, it's just like they think like, oh no, I'm not doing anything. But then when we point out certain things, no, see, like
It's the small steps, it's the
yes,
small wins
yes, exactly.
that you're able to. And I think at the end of the day, it's important, and that's where, a role as a coach is to be that safe space.
Yeah.
To be that person that can be, and sometimes your friends can act as coaches, but, there are some tough conversations to be had, which sometimes even your friends will not be able to do that. And again, they don't have the professional training, the tools, and the resources.
Yes.
You can have mentors. You can have friends who play a role as mentors.
Yeah.
You can have, like an accountability buddy if you're, working out and your goal is to lose weight, and you have a friend that you're going to work out with and you challenge each other.
Yeah.
Those are all, different things. Every individual needs a support system and needs a little, circle that they can count on. And I feel coaches are a part of that circle, an important part of that circle, because they're looking in from the outside. They're able to give you a non-judgmental, safe space to be vulnerable and to be able to acknowledge, what the barriers are, to identify potentials, to work on goals together, and then, keep making progress and, and find opportunities where, okay, we tried this, it's not working. Let's try something else.
Yeah.
Let's find out what, happened here.
Yeah.
And then maybe this wasn't the right method or technique for that individual, and then you try something else.
Yeah.
But that's where, it's important. And I feel like everyone should have, multiple coaches in their lives for multiple things, because our lives are complex and not one person has, the solution to everything, right? And they may not have the expertise for different things. So,
and I look at it this way, like, for our kids, for instance, they have coaches. Whether they're in tennis, whether they're in soccer or football, they have coaches, right? So, that's what basically the job is.
Yep.
It's like having those coaching skills. The coach comes and they teach you, give you tools, and you practice them. They teach you accountability and stuff like that to our kids. So
they critique you. They're able to tell you where you're making mistakes, where to course correct, and
And so at the end, there's a win there, right? So it's like, you learn that. And I know Sasha shared that story about her daughter playing tennis and how she stood up for herself. And, and I said, you want to share that story?
Sure.
So it's a proud moment.
It was a proud moment. And we actually spoke about that yesterday, I think, or the day before.
Day before,
So she had a match at school, and normally she doesn't say anything. She doesn't speak up. But one of the girls, her opponent, her friend, they were from a different school, and she was shouting out the score, and you're not supposed to do that. So it's only the players that shout out the score.
Okay.
So Iman stops the game. She goes in the middle of the net, calls her opponent. She says, "Can you tell your friend to not shout? This is not allowed, and it's stressing me out. So can you please tell her not to do it?" And then she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then she tells her friend, "Stop doing that. We're not supposed to be doing that." And I was sitting there, I was like, "Oh, that's my baby." I was so proud. I was like, wow, she spoke up. She said, and she said it in the nicest way. She said, "Thank you," and all of that. But the fact that she spoke up.
Yeah.
to me, that was like, like the biggest thing. So,
Yeah.
I'm surprised none of the coaches or anyone else said anything.
yeah. Well, they were short on a coach. So.
Okay.
He was on the other side. But
So-
I'm glad she said.
Yeah, so I said, it's not only teaching her the game, it's teaching her about, like being respectful of the game, having that confidence.
Yeah.
And, like she
Respecting
said,
the
she's
rules.
not respecting the rules. So she was able to stand up and speak up,
Yeah.
but actually even like, not like lose her temper or anything
Yeah.
under calmness and all. So that, it teaches you so many
Life
things,
skills,
right?
actually.
Exactly,
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
skills. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a very proud moment. I was
Yeah.
like smiling ear to ear. And I was like, hey, Mom, I'm so proud of you. She goes, Mom, stop. It's like, you're embarrassing me.
Oh, that sounds like my kids all the time. So, like, you're not supposed to cheer. You're not supposed
No.
to take videos. You're not supposed to, call
Yeah.
out their names. Just sit in the stand and just watch us. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
Well, the
It
other
takes
moms
a
are doing
lot
it.
of willpower to not embarrass them, but,
Yeah. I was like, woo. So how do life coaching and leadership coaching overlap?
So from my perspective, and I think about it, there's, you're working on emotional intelligence because you're working on self-awareness in both aspects, right? And then it's goal-oriented. So I think both mediums or styles of coaching have different goals, but at the end of the day, it's self-improvement. It's having a better understanding of self-awareness. Because when you're talking about leadership coaching, right? Leadership coaching is, or, career coaching, both of those are where you are trying to be a better version of yourself, be a better leader, or transition through, job change or career change or what have you. And both of those, opportunities require you to have a really good understanding of yourself.
Yeah.
Have that self-awareness, understand, where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, what your opportunities and threats are, right? A lot of times there's leadership assessments that you have to take. Most executive level, leadership positions, you're required to take personality assessments. You're required to take leadership assessments. And how do you, prepare yourself for those? And how do you, again, understand and recognize what your limitations are, what your barriers are?
Yeah.
What are your triggers, right? We all have weaknesses. We all have blind spots. And that's where a coach comes in to help you with identify those blind spots. Help you identify those triggers. That'll help you, you're not going to cure someone of their blind spots, right? Excuse me. It's really about that self-awareness and understanding this is what I'm really good at. So I want to leverage this. And here's what my triggers or struggles are. And how am I going to mitigate any risk associated with that? How am I going to try and steer clear of these areas that could be pitfalls in my career, in my job search, as a leader, in my journey?
Yeah.
So, so I think there's, commonality where the intent is to bring out the best in the individual,
Right.
whether it's professionally or personally. And you can't work on one part of your life and not have it impact the other part of your life, right?
I
So if you're working on yourself personally in the personal space, and obviously I'll let, Lynn talk about how, the philosophy for our life coaching, but in leadership coaching, you're still focusing on relationships, right? Because you're leading people. So you're still focusing on your interactions with other individuals and your relationships. And you can't work on your professional relationships and not have that seep into your personal life and your personal relationships.
Yeah.
So I feel there's, a lot of overlap in specifically self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and, being very goal-oriented on improving yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, because that, everything works together. Your personal life, professional life, it comes together
Yeah.
in so many ways and form. And as a life coach, I, help clients build confidence, build resilience, and, like you said, emotional intelligence, that is so important too. So the self-awareness and their mindset as well, right? So that all comes into play. And many times we have to learn how to manage our stress. If we don't learn that, how are we going to lead people out
Others,
there,
yeah.
right? Others. So yeah, so that's it's together for
Yeah.
sure. Your
And I
personal-
love the fact that you said mindset, because I think that is so core to any self-improvement.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Having the right mindset and, working on your mindset. And obviously, to be a better leader, you have to lead yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to have the right mindset
Yeah.
in your personal life. And that's when it's going to, it's going to show up
Yeah.
in how you lead
That's true.
others.
Yeah.
So mindset's key.
It is.
It
It's
is.
everything. I think it's
Yeah.
so important. Like like clients that I have. I'm also a health coach, right? And many times I see that it's just like they eat a piece of pizza and they keep beating themselves up. It's like, oh my God, I'm so bad. I did such a bad thing, and and it's like, no, it's okay. Remember the 80-20 rule we always talk about?
I was just going to say that. Like you always say that.
And I said, you crave for that pizza, have it, but have it with joy. Be happy that you're eating that pizza. Eat it enjoy it. Don't beat yourself on it, because at the end of the day, that food, whatever you put in, it's going to be fuel to your body, and your body will reject it in some way, right? Your body talks to you and tells you. So it's very important that your mindset, be happy and be, okay, I'm going to enjoy this no matter what. Tomorrow is another day. We'll work on that.
The guilt's not worth it.
Yes, exactly.
If you're going to feel guilty about it, don't do it.
Yeah, my question is always are you planning to eat the whole pizza or just that one side? If it's the whole,
There's a silver lining, right? That's the silver
if
lining.
it's the whole pizza, then girl, we need a session.
Let's get on that call.
Let's get on that call. Yeah.
True.
But I like that you guys said mindset, because I followed this with my kids since they were little. The one thing that every morning when we're going to school, I ask them, give me 3 things you're grateful for. So
love
that sets their day. I feel, and then they'll ask me, okay, Mom, it's your turn. What is the 3 things that you're grateful for? So we started doing this since they were babies.
love
And we've
that.
done this every day since then. So I feel like it just sets their day, and
Yeah.
it's with gratitude.
With gratitude.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think gratitude journaling, or, even doing a simple activity like that, it really, really sets the tone. It really sets the tone and helps with, we talked about therapy. A lot of therapists really work on clients with, working on do a gratitude journal or have a gratitude jar, and there's so many different ideas. And I think when we talk about dealing with stress or dealing with anxiety, or even having confidence issues, right? And you talk about career transition. Even the most confident of people, when they're going through job transition, can have their confidence tanking. Because when you think about it, the societal pressure of who we are is defined so much by what we do, right? The most common question after you meet someone is, so what do you do?
That is so
Right?
true.
And I experienced this when I, by choice, quit my job when I had my son and wanted to stay at home. That only lasted 2 months. But I almost went through an identity crisis of my own, even though it was my decision. I wasn't fired. It was my choice. I said, I'm going to take a sabbatical. I want to spend time with my firstborn. But, for me, since I'd been so career focused and so career driven throughout my career, throughout my life, I mean, it was like, who am I if I'm not a healthcare professional, or or whatever it is, right? And so think about the trauma if you were let go, or if you have a job loss. There's actually a grieving process that you go through. I was taking a class at work at Houston Methodist on grief, and the 3 things on the slide was death, job loss, and divorce. And I was like, well, I've experienced all 3 and I've gone through different, griefs at different things. But the job loss was not so much where, even though it was my conscious decision, it was really, really hard, because I found myself, like really struggling with, who am I, without, because most people know me professionally because of what I do, and, and so think about people that are going through the job loss or the transition. Plus, if you're the only breadwinner, and if you have, financial and other concerns, it is actually a pretty big life event. It's pretty traumatic. And so that's where, transition coaching, career coaching comes in. It doesn't always have to be job loss, right? It could be that you want to prepare yourself for that next level, for that next step. And, and then you're proactively seeking a professional's help to say, I need a coach to help me prepare for this next big job that I'm looking for, or things like that. So it really depends upon, the scenarios or the situations, but mindset's important, and it's very, very important to actually, there's kind of a lot of commonalities that when you're working on your professional life, it's going to seep into your personal life. And when you have issues in your personal life, it's going to, as much as we say we don't carry our baggage to work, we all do, because we're human at the end of the day. And especially if you are in a leadership position, you're always in a fishbowl, right? People are constantly looking at you. You have to always be on stage. And no matter what crisis you have going on in your life, you still have to be able to bring that best version of you. And sometimes it's hard.
It is.
A lot of times it's very, very hard. And I've gone through a lot of hurdles in my life where I found myself completely feeling alone. And not that I don't have friends that I can confide in, but sometimes you just need that professional support, and work through and find solutions to be able to overcome the things that you go through.
And have the empathy, because I think like, as leaders also, like owning my own business in the restaurant, right? I've seen other people like who own businesses tell their staff, like, just leave your problems out the door before you come in. And it's not easy, they do have, if they have big, huge personal issues, like for instance, domestic violence or abuse and stuff like that. You know something is wrong, and there's no way they can leave that outside the door when they walk in the door at work, right? So it's like, have empathy for them, and like get to know them, get to know what their story is, try and see in what way you can
help.
Exactly. So many times that's what I think we forget, right? All we are focused on is our business, how we can grow it, how we can like just make it successful, and then we forget that the people out there who work for us are the ones
that are
so
and
being a leader
that is so true. Even in terms of, it helps you build loyalty, because when you are taking care of your people, they recognize that, they see that, they value that, and they're going to give their 110% back to you. And that's why even organizations, I mean, it's so much about employee engagement and taking care of the whole self, and not just you're here at work, what you're doing during the hours that you're clocked in is what I'm going to be worried about. I don't care what's happening outside. It's the same thing in healthcare, right? I mean, a lot of problems that people with illnesses are dealing with is not just related to their health. They may not have transportation to make it to their appointments. They may not have the healthy food needed to remain healthy. So just like in healthcare, we take care of the whole self for patients. Same thing as employers, as leaders, we need to be looking at people, their whole self. right? You can bring your best version to work if you're struggling at home with other issues. And we as leaders have to take accountability and responsibility for that and see how we can help.
Yeah, and like
So, yeah.
like for instance, in the restaurant business, it's a revolving door. People come into work, they leave this very same shift, right? The next shift they're gone, they don't show up. But like I can say, like for Arlings, like we are so blessed. We have staff that's been with us for the 15 years that we have been open. So
That's amazing.
it's like, that speaks volume.
That speaks volumes of your culture, the culture you created.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I see like people who do come in, like Irfan and myself will always be sitting at the bar, not having drinks, of course, just sitting and chatting and stuff. But they are like, oh, no work to do? You don't do anything? It's not that, because my staff is like, they all know what they are doing. They work as a team. We have built that foundation. The building that foundation is like brick by brick. We have built this, and now we don't even have to worry about it.
Yep.
Like they know what to do if if the system is down or if the customer is having an issue. They don't come running to us. They will try and solve that issue unless it's something big and they cannot. It's a it's a difficult customer. Then it's different. Then they come to us. But just building that strong foundation and being, yes, we are there to support them, but we are not there to do their job or to always micromanage them. And I never believed in micromanaging. I'm like, I got to trust my staff. If I've given them the training, let them do it. They will make mistakes. It's fine. They will learn through those mistakes. But if they make mistakes and we're like, oh, you can't do this job, I'm going to do it myself, I better just do it myself. If that's the attitude, there will not be growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you touched upon, a couple of things. You have been coaching your employees, right? You're allowing them to make mistakes. You're empowering them. You're giving them the tools and the resources. They have the training. They have the ability to make mistakes and not feel like they're going to get fired the first time they make a mistake, right? So in your own way, you've been coaching them and developing them to the best of their potential, where now you're getting the returns on it, right? Because you made that investment in them, and now the business is running by itself. I mean, to a certain extent. Like, obviously, you're still involved in all of that. But had you not done that, put in the time and effort in coaching your team, they wouldn't be where they are, right? The other point you mentioned is about being able to make mistakes, and I think that environment of psychological safety that you create is very important, right? So even when you're coaching, whether it's one-on-one clients or you're working with a team, sometimes you have teams that need coaching.
Yes.
And again, what is team coaching? You're working with a team of highly intelligent and skilled workers, but they have strong personalities. They have diverse backgrounds. When they come together, they may have personality traits that come in the way of they doing the best as a team, right? And then you need a team coach to come in and work through the group dynamics. And, anytime I have had new managers, and I kind of, resonate with you, I had the opportunity when I joined Houston Methodist with the Department of Surgery, I had the opportunity of pretty much building my own team. And I've seen them kind of grow. I've nurtured them. I've coached them. And they're at a point where, if I'm not there, I can actually go on a vacation and be completely switched off of my devices, which I haven't done in a very long time. But I've been doing it for a couple of years now where, or maybe a year or two. I'll still look at my emails, but I know it's taken care of. And if there is
a good
something,
feeling, I'm sure.
Exactly. And if there's something that needs to be escalated, I know they're going to, call me or what have you, but I don't have to worry about it. And that takes time and investment, right?
Yeah.
And then you create an environment of psychological safety where people know that even if I make mistakes, Mitali's got my back, right?
Yeah.
Or my leader's got my back. So being able to do that team coaching. And the other thing that we do is we have our HR OD consultant, the organizational development consultant. We have lots of different personality assessments, right? So we'll do a Myers-Briggs assessment of all managers. And then the person comes and debriefs with your team and shows you how each individual, that's where the team coaching and the team dynamics come in, how each individual what are our stress behaviors? What are our strengths? How do we like to be communicated to? How do we like to communicate with other people? And, once you have that intrinsic understanding of someone that's literally your right hand or your left hand, right? Yeah. Being able to understand each other makes us so much more efficient and effective as a team because there isn't a miscommunication.
Yes.
And we understand, Lynn may want to be given a pat on her back every day because she looks for recognition that way. But for you, you're intrinsically driven. And for you, I don't have to come in and say, oh, you're doing so good or what have you. I give you a task, you get it done, you're driven, and you don't need the recognition. That doesn't mean I don't recognize you, but that's not what's driving you. But I know for Lynn, if I don't give her the feedback and the recognition, it's going to make her not as effective.
It's recognizing everyone's quality.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna make you hold that thought because we got to take a real quick break.
Already?
I know.
I just scratched the surface.
So please stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick commercial break. You're listening to 103.5 Hum FM. Welcome back to Chai Time here on 103.5 Hum FM. For those of you that have just tuned in, we are talking to our very own Lin Lin Yen and Mitali Paul about coaching. So we were going to go to how do you define leadership in today's world? That was the next question that we were going to jump to. So who's taking that one?
The leadership coach.
Come on, Mitali.
I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's now or any time. I think the basic philosophy of being a leader is the ability to inspire, influence, and lead others, right?
Yeah.
Of course, in the very divisive world we are in, where we're very, very polarized, politically, and there's more and more differences that we tend to find, then, being able to embrace those differences. I do think that leaders have a higher calling now, and it's more challenging to be a leader because at the end of the day, you're trying to do what's best for your team, what's best for your organization, what's best for, the mission and the goals that you have for your team or for your organization. But then you're also trying to do this in a very divisive environment. So how do you get people together, even when they don't see eye to eye on issues? How do you still inspire them to continue to work in the same direction? I think that definitely needs a lot more intentionality, a lot more skill, a lot more self-awareness also, because until and unless you understand yourself and what your triggers are, you can lead other people. And then understanding your team and understanding what their triggers are and where each individual is coming from. Because only when you can see things from other people's perspective, you're able to then guide them in the right way, in the correct way. And so I feel at the end of the day, a leader's job is to really inspire, influence, and lead others in being able to accomplish a common mission, a common vision, and get to goals. And it's always been challenging, and I think in today's environment, it is even more challenging because there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty with so many things, with AI, with in the professional world, there's so much of discussion about jobs are going to go away. Jobs of tomorrow are going to look very different than what they are now. So there's a lot of uncertainty that we as leaders have to lead through. And so that's why it's, again, important to focus on your leadership style, on your leadership philosophy, and be able to coach your teams through change. Change management is key. That's a skill that wasn't very important, for leaders in the past, but now it's like you blink an eye,
Yeah.
and there's something new, right?
so true.
And how do you lead through the change, and how do you coach others to lead through change?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what's one habit you believe everyone, whether in life or leadership, should cultivate? Well,
Can I say two? I'll say
course.
self-love and self-discipline.
ooh, those are good ones.
Yeah.
Because if you don't learn to prioritize yourself and take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. I love the cliched but very cliched analogy of the airplane and the oxygen mask.
Yes.
Where they always tell you put on your oxygen mask first before you try to help somebody else. And I love that analogy because if you are struggling to breathe, how are you going to help somebody else,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so I think that is something that I have struggled with my entire life. And for 2025, my goal was self-love. It's all about me.
Yes.
I'm the queen. I'm the princess. You are
Yes, you
here
are.
to serve me.
That's right.
I tried to make it work. Hasn't quite, but I think I have done a much better job
Yeah. Good.
of prioritizing my own, physical and mental well-being.
Yeah.
I've started doing things just for me, even if people didn't support me in it. And and I think it's important. It's important for your overall well-being to prioritize yourself, because sometimes we are so worn out as caregivers, taking care of other people, that we don't take care of ourselves. And then you realize that you come to a breaking point where you realize you can't take care of others if you're hurting yourself. Right. And then the discipline part, I'm still struggling with that. So I'm not practicing what I'm preaching here. I'm the worst when it comes to self-discipline. Professionally, it's a different thing. Like, you give me a professional goal, I will go after it. But when it comes to personal goals, I may be coming to you later. Because discipline, that's something that I struggle with. But I think that's one thing that if we can overcome and be disciplined, that's something that will help us in our professional or personal lives. That's one. So,
Yeah. For me, I would say self-reflection. Every time, like, take a moment to pause and think and try and figure out, are my values aligned with my goals? So that is so important when we sit and you reflect on things. And I always tell my clients also, sit and reflect, have that quiet moment where you reflect on your day, or you want to reflect on whatever that comes to mind. Don't let your mind, don't force it. Always let it just happen, right? And many times, when you're reflecting on it, you become kinder to yourself too. You're not so. So that's what I feel, and I agree with self-love. I see so many people in my practice that don't practice that, and it's so important. It's always, and they're always looking for validation from other people, and that is not important. You love yourself. You know yourself the best, and I always tell them that you know yourself the best. Nobody else does, and what you feel, what your gut feeling tells you. Are you if people tell you, oh, you are a bad person, or you didn't do this well enough, you ask yourself that. Those are the questions you start reflecting on. You talk about it. So yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a moment of reflection today.
After the show.
Watch me sit here. We're contemplating while y'all are asking questions. Okay. What role does mindset play in achieving tangible results?
I think we kind of talked about it
about it.
already.
It's so important.
It's important.
It's everything.
It really is, because you can set all the goals that you want for yourself, but if you're not going to be in the right mindset and saying, I'm going to get this done and really focus on it, it's not going to happen.
It's not. Yeah, we can give all the tools and give all resources and everything, but if your mindset is just I'm a failure, I'm never going to be able to do it, nothing else will, that is, mindset is everything.
Because you set that tone.
Exactly.
Right, for yourself that you can't do it, therefore you will
Exactly.
not do it.
Yeah, and that's why recently, like on my social media page, I posted sayings like, for mindset, like habit changes, right?
Yeah.
Like I go, I can't to I'll try, right? I failed,
Changing it up.
Yeah, I
Yes.
failed to I learn.
Yeah.
So things like that,
Yes.
when you and I do like. That is so important for me, like as a coach, to kind of like get my clients to do that, to practice that, and when I see the change, after a few weeks or so, of course it's like reframing your words,
Yes.
right? And sometimes when I'm talking to them, and I don't know, I guess when I get too friendly with them or whatever, and then I start talking about, like, I get into that, and they're like, Lynn, reframe. They start coaching me.
Absolutely. No, I think reframing, you hit the nail on the head. Reframing is very, very important in mindset.
Yes.
It's one of those, there's proactive things that you can do to get into the right mindset. I love the gratitude example that you
Yes.
gave. Just being able to say, I know I can do it. I'll give you an example. It's an interesting example, but I recently faced a lot of demons in one night. Okay, so one of my goals for 2025 was to get my motorcycle license and buy a bike. So I have a motorbike, and
What?
yes.
Amazing.
And so I had not been on a freeway, I had not driven after dark, and I've definitely not driven in the rain. Okay. Labor Day, I decide to go visit somebody, and I decide to go on my motorbike.
Wow.
And I got caught in a thunderstorm off of 45.
Oh my goodness.
And, I pulled up in a strip mall, but, there was like the rain just kept going and going. And I had to get back home to my kids. And of course, I was petrified of riding in the dark, riding on the bike in the rain. And, I thought I'll still stay. So on my way there, I stayed on the feeders and didn't get on the freeway. But then the feeders started flooding because, of course, we're in Houston.
Yes.
You flash flood in a second, right? And so here I am, on the motorbike, riding in the rain, got on the freeway for the very first time. It was dark, and all I did, I'm telling you, the only thing that got me through was mindset. The only thing, because I have not felt fear and anxiety of that level in a long time. So I was on the bike, and all I kept saying is, I'm going to make it home safe to my kids. They're not going to be getting a phone call. It was so scary. But had I even for a moment let my fear overtake me, it could have been fatal,
Yeah.
And it was very, very scary. But, and my only thought throughout it was, I have gone through so much. I've done so many things. This is nothing. I can do this too, and I kept like self-talking and pepping myself up, and I did it. And when I got home, like I could feel the relief, right? Like I was carrying this burden,
Big breath.
And what I didn't know was I also ended up getting a nail in my front tire
Oh
that
my gosh.
same night. So I find out a week later because, after that it took me a little to de-stress and not get on the motorbike because it was such a traumatic experience for me. I was also proud of myself because I was like, if I could do that, I can do anything, because I really conquered my fears that night. But then when I saw the nail sticking out of my front tire, I was like, God was really with me that night because I could have had a blowout. Like, it could have been so much worse. It wasn't just riding in the rain, in the dark, with no reflective gear, with people honking at you because people don't like motorbikes. But the fact that this nail got into my front wheel, and it got completely flat by the time I got into my garage and parked it, and I didn't even realize that I had hit that until I went to ride the next time. And I noticed there's this big nail. So like this week I'm going to go get it fixed. But that was truly mindset that got me through, I can tell you. So
That's amazing.
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, so I want you guys both to leave our listeners with a takeaway. Because almost time to go.
We didn't even touch emotional. Oh, imposter syndrome. We gotta come back to that.
Yes.
So then you
So
can have a
important.
redo.
Yes.
The imposter syndrome thing. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
experiencing
Absolutely.
it myself, like it's crazy, right? So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
definitely we got to come back and revisit some of your,
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll do
the
that.
things,
We'll
yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
I think my takeaway really is, invest in yourself, and that self-love piece, because that's the biggest lesson I have learned in the past 2 years, where you cannot pour from a cup that's empty. And that was something that's been kind of my that's what I do, is I take care of other people. I'm a caregiver. I'm a giver.
Yeah.
I'm a giver. That's just naturally
that
who I
about
am.
you. Yeah.
And, and then you give and you give and you give and you give, and you don't do enough to take care of yourself. You get to a point where you have nothing left to give. And I'm not saying it's a point of not coming back, because I'm back, but you have to pour into yourself so that you can continue to pour into others. And so I think that's very, very important. And sometimes you need a coach, and you need a therapist, and you need professional
team.
help
Yeah.
to kind of get you to what you need to do, what gets you going, what fills your cup.
Yeah.
Find that and make sure you're investing in yourself, I think.
Yeah. For me, is transformation does not happen overnight. Taking those small steps will lead to those big changes. And I say always, always be kind to yourself.
I like that.
Always. So that's it for me.
You heard that, listeners?
I came with a good mindset.
You sure did.
And you were a good guest. You didn't ask questions. I'm so proud of you.
I was sweating over here. I'm like, oh God, I'm entering Lin.
Yeah, is she going to just take over the show and start asking you questions?
And I'm going to be like, wait a minute, who's the life coach here? I love it.
So great mindset.
Focused. Laser focused. Well, thank you so much, ladies. And Lyndon, you're going to be back next week, same time, same place. We love you guys. Thank you for listening to us. And we will be back same time, same place next week. Thank you. You are listening to 103.5 Hum FM with your Chai Time Girls. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.